Ladies and gentlemen, let us all rise for the arrival of the Honorable Senate President and the Senators of the Republic of the Philippines.
The 11th session of the Senate in the first regular session of the 18th Congress is hereby called to order. Senator let's all pause for a minute of silent prayer. Thank you. The Secretary may we please call the roll. Just you know, go ahead.
Roll call of members, Honorable Senators Angara, Binay, Cayetano, De Lima, De La Rosa, Drilon, Gatchalian, Go, Gordon, Ontiveros, Lacson, Lapid, Marcos, Pacquiao, Pangilinan, Pimentel, Po, Recto, Revilla, Tolentino, Villanueva, Villar, Zubiri, Senate President Soto III.
With 20 senators present, the chair declares the presence of a quorum. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move that we dispense with the reading of the Journal of the 10th session, Tuesday, August 13, 2019. Consider the same as approved.
Any objection? Hearing none. Motion is approved. Journal is approved.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Just for the record, in the history of the 18th Congress, this is the first time that we call the session at 4 o'clock, only because there was a very important hearing that was ongoing. That was the Blue Ribbon Committee, and we could not help but wait that they finish because of the very bombastic
I overheard the conversation with the good chairman. That's why I put that on record. Mr. President, we have several visitors in the gallery today. We have the Lupon Tagapamayapa ng Barangay Nara, Francisco Home, San Jose del Monte City, Bulacan. They're over there. Your guest, Mr. President.
Yes,
and I also have with us Board Member Bingbing Minerva Casinave of Bukidnon. She's the former mayor of Kibawe, Bukidnon, the place where our dear Pambansang Kamao was born in Bukidnon, Mr. President. And Mayor Hogani Rarang of Anda, Pagasinan. We also have with us Mayor Joe Padrid of Bay Laguna, a guest of Senator Cayetano. And before we continue, Mr. President, today is a special day for all the women here in the Senate and all women workers, because it is the 10th year anniversary of the Magna Carta for Women. And I believe that's why Senator Risa Morales will deliver a speech in a bit. Yeah, related to women. And also, Mr. President, we have with us Vice Mayor Buboy Fernandez of Polani Albay. I thought it was JV Ejercito, but it's Buboy pala.
Yes.
Because in the speeches of Senator JV, he always mentions that they mistake him for Buboy Fernandez when he's in Las Vegas. But we're happy that he had won as vice mayor Opulangi. Mr. President, we also have with us former Sama Representative Emil Ong and former Mayor Quintin Saludaga, Mr. President.
We welcome everyone, all our guests to the Senate this afternoon.
Mr. President, before we proceed with the reference of business, I know it's a lengthy reference of business, may we first recognize Senator Risa Ontiveros to deliver her privileged speech, Mr. President.
Senator Risa Ontiveros is recognized.
Salamat po, Mr. President. Gretchen Diaz, 28 years old, came from her friend's house one August 13th, 2019. For lunch, she went to KFC at Farmers Plaza, Cubao. She wanted to go home and finally rest. It was a hectic day, but she still needed to do one more thing. She needed to pee. In a span of almost 12 hours, she found herself detained at Station 7, handcuffed, and brought to Camp Karingal, then brought to another police station, and then finally to Barangay Socorro in Quezon City. 1 a.m. na po siya nakauwi. Her crime? She's a trans woman who needed to pee. Panoorin po natin itong video na ito.
Patayin mo yan.
Bakit? Nasaan yung policy na bawal mag-video sa loob ng mall?
Dito, kami binibigyan mo, di ba?
May ginagawa ba kayong masama?
Binibidyon mo ko. Alam mo sir, kanina sabi, nag-CR ka sa lalaki sa babae. Sabi ko, nasis kitang maayos dun ka sa lalaki. Sabi mo, bakit? Tapos pinipicturean mo na ako, binibidyon mo.
Wala ko naman ginagawa masama. Sabi mo ginagawa mo ng trabaho
Bakit
mo.
mo ako binibidyon? Anong papel mo? Ha? Para sumikap ka? Oo, hindi ka artistahin. Hindi ka maganda para mag-uusap ka. Ayan ang binibidyoan ko. Ayan ang nabibidyo. Sirain ko yan.
Ayan o, hinampas ako. Kitang-kita.
Sabi ko sa'yo, patayin mo yung video.
Para bidyoan mo ka. Ayun. Nasis kitang maayos eh. Trabaho kami maayos, bibidyoan mo kami.
Patuloy mo yung paghanap.
Ayan po, dito po tayo ngayon sa farmer.
Ay, sisikat siya. Ang ganda niya.
Ayan po, 3 beses, kita niyo po sa live video, 3 beses po niya ako tinampal. Pati yung cellphone ko, 3 beses niyang tinangkang agawin.
Para mag-video.
Ayan po, anong kumakarapatan ko? Tigilan mo ko. Pati sasahal mo pa ako. Nasaan ka dito? Nasaan ka? Gusto mo rin? Ano po, dinala po nila ako rito sa may baba ng Farmers Plaza kasi daw po nag-CR ako sa babae. Binitbit po nila ako dito. Tapos 3 beses din ang kaagawin yung cellphone ko. Sarap daw po akong sampalin, sabi niya.
Yan, it pa sa'yo, na papalagay papa dyan.
Binitbit ako sa kamay, papunta rito sa baba. Kasi nag-CR daw ako sa babae.
Idamay mo kami dyan. Sige.
Ayan po, sabi niya, wag daw po sila i-video kasi wala daw po.
Mr. President, my dear colleagues, here is Gretchen, a bright young girl. She called the police when she was not allowed to use the female bathroom at Farmers Plaza. She knew there was a Quezon City Pride Ordinance which prohibits discrimination in the access to services, goods, and facilities on the basis of her sexual orientation and gender identity or expression. Siya yung tumawag ng pulis. Siya yung magrereklamo. But instead, she found herself in handcuffs. Siya yung pinusasan, sinaktan, nilait-lait, dinala sa karingal at hindi pinakinggan. Tingnan niyo po ang larawan na ito. Bakit kamo niya pinipilit sarili niya sa CR ng babae? Una, babae siya. A trans woman is a woman. Pangalawa, pang-araw-araw na karanasan ng mga LGBTQ at lalong-lalo na ang mga trans women ang panghaharas, pangungutya at pang-aabuso sa CR panlalaki. Sa lahat ng mga nagsasabi na walang nangyayaring diskriminasyon sa ating mga kapatid na LGBTIQA sa Pilipinas, andito si Gretchen Diez sa Senate Plenary ngayon. Sabihan natin siya ng ganyan. At sa marami pang kapatid, kaibigan, anak na hindi nakatatanggap ng kaukulang, respeto at proteksyon mula sa kanilang kapwa, sa mga establishmento, ahensya ng gobyerno at mga mambabatas din katulad natin. What this underscores, Mr. President, is that there is grave and urgent need for a SOGI Equality Bill. Panahon na para sabihin na hindi tayo papayag na may LGBTIQ na poposasan, sasampalin, aalis pustahin dahil sa kanilang kasarian. It's time that we say we will stand by those who speak their truths. Matagal na tayong pinagpapasensyahan ng mga LGBTIQ na mga anak, kapatid, kaibigan at kababayan natin dahil sa ating pagkukulang. Anong sasabihin natin kay Gretchen? Pasensya na anak, hindi namin ito priority sa Senado. Pasensya na Gretchen, hindi namin ito maisa sa batas. Sorry Gretchen, hindi ka muna magsi-CR. Sorry, at ikay nakaposas. I'm calling on my dear colleagues in this plenary at sa buong Kongreso, ipasa na natin ang SOGI Equality Bill para kay Gretchen, para sa lahat ng Filipino lesbians, gays, transgenders, intersex, queers, at asexuals na matagal nang nakaposas sa panghuhusga, pangmamata, at diskriminasyon. Marami pong salamat, Mr. President.
The Majority Leader, Senator Bongo is recognized.
Mr. President,
Oh. Majority Leader, who goes first? The ladies?
You first identified Senator Bongo, sir, but we can, if Senator Go will graciously agree to allow ladies first.
Senator Jaime Marcos is recognized.
yes, thank you, Mr. President. Merely to support Senator Ontiveros' plea, baliktad na nga yata ang mundo kung sino pa inapi, siya pa ang pinusasan at kakasuhan. Kaya full support po tayo sa SOGI Bill. Maraming salamat po.
Senator Bongo.
Just want to make a manifestation. Mr. President, I would like to manifest my support for the Sexual Orientation and Gender Identity and Expression Bill, SOGI Bill. Nilapitan po ako ni Congresswoman Geraldine Roman months before upang humingi ng tulong upang maipasa ang bill na ito. Kanina naman I spoke to the lady from Akbayan, Senator Risa Hontiveros, on her fight to promote the rights and enhance the welfare of the members of various sectors of our society, including the LGBT community through the SOGI Bill. Suportado ko po ito, and in fact, sa Davao po, meron kaming anti-discrimination ordinance. It declares as unlawful the acts and conduct of discrimination based on sex, gender identity, sexual orientation, race, color, descent, national, or ethnic origin. Tuwing December po sa Davao, nagpapaparty po kami ni then Mayor Rodrigo Duterte para po sa mga LGBT community. We are all equal under the law, and it is our duty in this institution to ensure that all Filipinos, regardless of their age, sex, religion, ethnicity, or gender orientation, are treated equally and justly. Moreover, it is only right to protect the welfare of our country's gender minorities who have contributed to our development and nation building and have served and continue to serve the Filipino people well. As a country that prides itself for its diversity, it is our moral obligation to safeguard a culture of acceptance and inclusivity to ensure that our children and generations of Filipinos to come will live in a nation where they feel loved, cared for, and accepted. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator Pimentel.
With the permission of Senator Ontiveros, just maybe one clarificatory question to better understand what happened or what is the issue.
Certainly, Mr. President.
The good Senator, Mr. President, used the term trans woman. May we know what exactly that is?
In the LGBTIQA+ community, Mr. President, not just here in the Philippines but all over the world, the definition of a trans woman is an individual who, though she may have been born with male sex characteristics, but because she identifies as a woman and expresses herself as a woman, is a woman, Mr. President.
So, scientifically, the sexual organ is still male.
The sexual organs may still be male, but the identification of the individual and the direction or the orientation of her love or romantic or sexual attraction may be that of, say, a straight woman. But again, there are permutations. The basic principle here, Mr. President, the common element sa lahat po ng SOGI, lahat ng klase ng sexual orientation, gender identity, and expression ng mga individual ay these are their or our, kasi bawat isa sa atin ay may SOGI. Ito yung ating gender identity at ito rin ang ating sexual orientation, Mr. President.
Thank you for that clarification. I have not read the case. You also mentioned, the Senator Ontiveros also mentioned the Quezon City Ordinance. I have not read it, but does it cover such a situation where a trans woman is that different from a transgender?
Thank you for the question, Mr. President. Baka po ang tinatanong ng good gentleman from Cagayan de Oro ay the difference between transgender and transsexual. Dahil po may mga kababayan tayo who may have been born with the sex characteristics of a particular sex but identify and express as another gender or another sex. Kapag po meron silang physical procedure na pinagawa sa katawan nila, then some of them may say they are transsexual. But even without these, they used to be called sex change operations, a person may identify herself because she is transgender as a trans woman. So with or without the physical operation, Mr.
So
President.
the person involved here, Mr. President, in this incident is a trans woman because he or she, how do you call it? She is a transgender, but not a transsexual.
I don't know if she's a transsexual, Mr. President, but she identifies herself as transgender. And it's in that way that I embrace her as my fellow woman, Mr. President.
If a person has not undergone a sex change operation, then that person is not a transsexual.
Yes, Mr.
That's right.
President,
Okay,
strictly
so
speaking.
can we fix the facts here? What the subject of your privileged speech, Madam Senator, is not a transsexual because he has not undergone a sexual change operation, but she is called a she because of her gender identification.
Yes, Mr. President, I do not know if Gretchen is a transsexual, but she identifies as a trans woman, as transgender. And on that basis, as a woman, I would also go into a ladies' room with her, as I have been in the past years, friends or associates of mine who identify as transgender. We have nang walang nagmumolestya sa amin, we have gone into ladies' bathrooms together. Even better, Mr. President, into so-called gender-neutral bathrooms, which I remember in an interpellation in the previous Congress, there was a wonderful idea from the good Senate President himself about the possibility of converting our bathrooms here at the Senate into gender-neutral bathrooms. And I recall I welcomed that idea wholeheartedly, saying maybe we could try it. For example, just for starters, the bathroom here on the second floor. Dahil yon sa ating ganitong mga plenaryo at committee hearings, ang pinaka madalas dalawin ng pinakamarami sa mga constituents natin na iba't iba rin po ang SOGI.
I have not read, Mr. President, the Quezon City Ordinance, but I don't know if the good senator has read it. And does it cover the situation where, because it's about non-discrimination, no? But does it cover the situation where a physical male will be allowed to use women's comfort room?
Yes, Mr. President. The basic term that the community uses to describe itself, LGBT, includes the T, which is transgender. Ganon din po yung diwa at laman ng Quezon City Anti-Discrimination Ordinance, like at least 3 other cities na meron ng ADO or Anti-Discrimination Ordinance, and like at least 2 other cities na work in progress kasalukuyan yung kanilang ADO. And as a basic provision includes non-discriminatory access sa lahat ng individual, anuman ang SOGI natin, sa mga facilities tulad ng restrooms or comfort rooms, Mr. President.
If we assume that there is no such Quezon City ordinance, if a male enters a comfort room for female, what is the violation? Is there anything violated? Is there anything violated?
Well, I hear the good Senator from Cavite, Senator Lacson, saying anti-voyeurism. So indeed, in different situations or incidents, baka iba-iba pong mga batas ang nalalabag sa iba't ibang hindi dapat na mga gawain natin. But what I am enjoining with all my heart, the dear colleagues here in the Senate, ay nasa pamamagitan ng isa pang batas, yung anti-discrimination, or more positively, yung SOGI Equality Bill, na bigyan natin ng force of law yung karapatan enshrined sa mga human rights instruments enshrined sa Philippine Constitution, yung karapatan ng bawat mamamayang Pilipino na magkaroon ng access sa ganitong mga comfort or rest facilities na walang diskriminasyon batay sa SOGI, Mr. President.
Kasi ang nakita ko, Mr. President, na situation is nagreklamo si Gretchen kasi hindi siya pinagamit ng banyo ng pambabae. Now, Gretchen has a female's name, dresses up like a female, so, but still, the person who prevented her from using that comfort room probably did not believe that she's a female from her looks.
How did she know?
Exactly, Mr. President.
How did she know?
Kaya that's why ang question ko, if with this SOGI bill, does a person need to look something or some way before he or she can be allowed to use another gender CR? Because so so if we pass the SOGI bill, kasi we're just the incident involves just use of comfort room. A male who looks like a male, but in his mind he identifies like a female, can he now use the women's CR? And if he is prevented, there's violation of the law.
Mr. President, sa pag-unawa po sa yung diwa na nasa likod ng SOGI Equality Bill, it may be possible na an individual pinanganak na may male sex characteristics, maaring sa first impression natin sa pagmumukha niya or yung pangangatawan niya ay male or straight male. Pero sa buong spectrum ng human sexuality, sa buong spectrum ng SOGI ng tao, ay iba yung gender identity niya. And usually, our gender identity conforms with our sexual orientation and our gender expression as well. Alam ko dahil yung rainbow ay maraming hindi lamang kulay pero maraming shades, ay kapag ka, if and when, and I would like to hope when we pass the SOGI Equality Bill, pwedeng sa implementing rules and regulations, magpo-provide tayo ng gabay. Halimbawa, sa mga nangangasiwa sa ganyang mga public facilities, kung ano yung tamang dapat pag-unawa at saka implementasyon ng batas. And I think there, Mr. President, the good gentleman from Cagayan de Oro is striking at something deeper and very important. Kasi kahit hindi pa natin naipasa yung SOGI Equality Bill sa ating bansa, sa syudad kung saan nangyari ito kay Gretchen, meron na pong batas, lokal na batas in the form of the Anti-Discrimination Ordinance. At nagbumukang, at least at first sight, at ganun din po yung feedback ng mga netizens na nakapanood ng video ni Gretchen mula kagabi hanggang ngayon, mukhang may malaking pagkukulang dun din sa pag-orient sa mga empleyado na nagtatrabaho sa mall na iyon na meron na pong kalahating dekada na actually, Mr. President, 5 years of the Anti-Discrimination Ordinance in Quezon City. Dapat na-orient lahat ng mga empleyado sa lahat ng mga establishments na itong syudad, kung saan natin kinukuha yung ating business permit, halimbawa, ay mayroong ganitong batas. At dapat institutionalized at internalized din po ng lahat ng nagtatrabaho doon. Bahagi na po ng kanilang customer relations regardless of SOGI without discrimination as to the SOGI ng isang taong gagamit ng comfort room ng mall, Mr. President.
With the permission of the two legislators,
With the permission of the lady and the gentleman on the floor, I see a little danger here, Mr. President. What if a straight male person who simply voyeuristic, would enter a ladies' room with another intention? Dressed in a female attire, but whose intention is simply just to
Harass.
not harass, but he's simply voyeuristic. He just wants to see some ladies inside the comfort room, the ladies' room.
Actually, yes.
That's dangerous. No?
I agree, Mr. President, that would be dangerous if that were a common occurrence. And in fact, partly agreeing with or sharing the concern of the good gentleman from Cavite, there are actually a number of incidents that men, ostensibly straight men, have entered ladies' rooms with that very intent of voyeurism, even harassment, or worse, forms of sexual abuse against women. Pero ang kapansin-pansin dito, Mr. President, they did not even take the trouble of dressing up as women. They just entered as themselves, dressed in their usual everyday garb. Sa pagtingin natin, kitang-kita na straight men na hindi nila kailangan magpanggap. So, iba po sa sitwasyon, halimbawa, ni Gretchen, a trans woman, and on her way home, dressed as she usually is on a day-to-day basis, katulad sa akin, ay gustong gumamit ng banyo.
Anyway, when I cited my example, I was just thinking of Senator Recto. That's all, Mr. President.
The example that you gave this gentleman from Cavite, Senator Lacson, is considering that it is at present. So, it happens even without the law. With the law, it is now allowed.
Actually, no, Mr. President. And dun po sa mga sitwasyon na sinabi ng good gentleman from Cavite, edi i-filean po natin yung ganyang mga lalaki, straight men, na pumapasok, bihis lalaki pa rin, para maging voyeur. Then kakasuhan po sila ng voyeurism, harassment, and other cases for which we already have laws. Of course, I'd also like to make of record that I continue to count on our good Senate President pro tempore, who even in the previous Congress went on record supporting the passage of the SOGI Equality Bill, and I continue to have faith in his faithfulness to the passage of this bill. Dagdag po, Mr. President, according to Section 4 of the Quezon City Ordinance na tinatanong po ng good gentleman from Cagayan de Oro, indeed, establishments have to provide gender-inclusive facilities or all-gender comfort rooms. This means there is a legal obligation in Quezon City to embrace all kinds of SOGI in the provision of facilities, Mr. President.
Okay po yun, Mr. President, that's in the ordinance, but the specific facts of the case, di ba, na Gretchen wanted to use the ladies' comfort room. So, well, Mr. President, nakikita natin sa incidenting ito na ang kinasuhan, ang napusasan si Gretchen. Pero ang sinasabi nyo na meron dapat ibang nakasuhan. So, yan ang problema ngayon, Mr. President, na in the future, kawawa rin yung mga wrong judgment kasi, for example, bihis lalaki, itsura lalaki, pero mentally identifies as a female. Now, under the SOGI law, we'll have the right to use a female CR. Paano na ngayon if somebody makes a wrong judgment because of the appearance, then may kaso ngayon siya. So, this is only one, this is a preview of the clogging of multiplication of cases and further clogging of court dockets.
Actually, Mr. President, gusto ko pong pasalamatan yung good gentleman from CDO for helping me think aloud about paano ba tayo magpo-provide in a just and reasonable law, pati sa IRRs niya. At dito po talaga, sa ganyang mga sitwasyon na, kunyari, may urgent need na for the bathroom, na hindi pa natin kailangan magdebate sino, ano ba, ako or siya. This is where the gender-neutral bathrooms come in. When if you think about it, ang mga banyo natin sa mga bahay natin ay mga gender-neutral din. And I have seen a growing number of these gender-neutral bathrooms. May toilet para dun sa nais gumamit ng toilet, may urinals sa mga kailangan gumamit ng urinal, and then there's a common sink area where people, dahil din sa dami ng mga tao, usually halo-halong mga sex, halo-halong mga soji, it's actually a very familial environment, Mr. President, with each one not even necessarily looking out for each other, but just minding their own business. Kasi halos iisa lang naman ang dahilan kung ba't tayo pumupunta sa banyo sa public areas. And it's really to fulfill a certain biological need, Mr. President.
Yes, Mr. President. So I agree with the lady senator that as far as the use of comfort rooms are concerned, this can be solved.
Yes, Mr.
With
President.
infrastructure, etc. But there are other issues involved in SOGI. If I recall, academic freedom, even parental authority. So maybe it's really time. It's a good time to discuss this. And this is just one minor issue, the use of CR, which comfort rooms, which can be solved. But there are other more substantive issues involved in the bill. But we are all for eliminating discrimination in our society. So, but yun lang po, yung ayoko lang yung mas dadami pa ang kaso, ang dami pang kasuhan kawawa naman. I mean,
will the gentleman go if you don't mind, will you go back to your original question, because I really want to be clarified also.
the definition, sir.
What is a transgender? What is a transsexual, transwoman? What is a transvestite?
So the third one.
Yes, Mr. President. The transvestite is an old term na sa karanasan po ng mga trans persons, naranasan nila na derogatory term ito, yung sarili nilang self-identification as trans persons is either trans man, trans woman, transgender, or transsexual. And yung transgender is the more all-embracing term. It refers to an individual na pinanganak with a certain set of sex characteristics, and then nung nakilala niya yung sarili niyang pagkatao at kung paano siya magmahal ng ibang tao, ay maaring yung gender identity and gender expression na hindi nagko-conform dun sa sex niya, yung nakaprint sa kanyang birth certificate. Maaring nagpasagawa siya ng mga operasyon sa sariling katawan, and if so, then some of these transgender kababayan of ours would say that they are transsexual. But even those who are not transsexual but identify and express differently, hindi nagko-conform dun sa binaries natin na male, female, they would all say they are transgender, Mr. President.
Encompassing yung transgender.
Mas encompassing po, Mr. President.
Whether you had a sex change or not,
Yes, Mr.
you're
President.
a transgender.
You may be a transgender, Mr. President.
That is the term that you would want to use.
That's the term po that the LGBT community teaches us, mga allies
So whether
nila.
it is
that they use.
sex change or not,
Yes, Mr. President.
shouldn't there be a difference?
Well, there is po in that difference of definition between the two terms, transsexual, transgender. So,
A
lahat...
transsexual is someone who has had a sex change.
Yes, Mr. President. So, kung si the good gentleman from CDO is the mathematician among us, transsexual may be a subset of transgender. Pero the universe of trans people, transgender. Hindi po lahat ay maaaring transsexual.
Senator Lapid, do you have any comment on the matter? No? All right. In the lounge. All right. Senator Pimentel, go ahead.
So, Mr. President, since we are on the topic, just a few more questions so that we can prepare for the debates.
Thank you.
The term now is LGBTIQA.
Plus.
May plus pa? Okay. So, hihingi sana ako ng definition ng IQA, pero kung may plus pa, walang katapusan pala ito. So, is it plus, not a sign greater than sign? It's plus?
Talagang umaanda na po ang math ng good gentleman from Cagayan de Oro, Mr. President. Plus po dahil sa natututunan natin about human sexuality, maraming kulay, maraming shades. So the spectrum may be forever being further and further refined habang nakikilala natin ang ating mga pagkatao. Although I would love to put again on the record, Mr. President, na yung isa sa paborito kong letter doon at definition ay yung sa Q, queer. Napag-usapan din po yata natin, good gentleman from CDO, nung interpellation, previous Congress, na ang mga queer, sabi nila, parang hindi na sila nagbabother kung paano sila magge-gender identify, hindi problema sa kanila kung ano ang gender orientation din ang iniibig nila, basta nag-iibigan sila. So one of the most beautiful things I've learned from the LGBTQ+ community ay sa mga queer, halimbawa, for the Q people, for the queers, it's all about love. And who can quarrel with love, Mr. President?
This is going to be a very lengthy debate because
Yes,
you know,
Mr. President.
I recall we debated that before, and when I went to a television program that I am part of, I asked Alan Kay if he is okay with the Q and the queer. He said if you call him a queer, sampalin ka raw niya. So, you know, it depends eh.
Opo.
Depende sa ano eh.
Hindi yun siguro
Ayaw
yung
niya.
gender
Gusto
identity
niya,
niya.
tawagin mo siyang gay.
Okay po, yun. That's an
But
example
why
of sexual
that
gender identity.
lengthy letters? Why not just Homo sapiens? We're all
Yes.
the same.
Yes, Mr. President. Totoo po. We are all Homo sapiens. We are all human beings. We are all one species.
Why do we have to segregate the gays from the lesbians, from
we are...
straight guys?
Hindi po sana kailangang mag-segregate, Mr. President. I agree with you. Kung yung human civilization natin at mga societies natin, pati Philippine society, nag-evolve to the point na walang diskriminasyon. May equality among all, regardless of identity, regardless of expression. Kaya lang po hindi ganon ang nangyayari. And I believe that is why the community felt it necessary just in the last 20 years na lumalaban sila para sa anti-discrimination law dahil tuloy-tuloy yung pag-document nila ng diskriminasyon. And as the good gentleman from CDO said, yung nangyari po kay Gretchen, isang kaso lang po ito. For her, for the community, it may be one, but it's not minor. Kasi nagsisimbolo po talaga na may diskriminasyon pa rin sa ating bansa, na hindi pa rin pantay-pantay ang lahat sa ating lipunan. And Gretchen has again given a face, a name, a story, a life, kasi yung buong pamilya niya dumating kagabi para suportahan siya, yung marami niyang kaibigan na taga-suporta. She has given a new, a fresh wind sa laban natin para sa SOGI Equality Bill, Mr. President.
So, Mr. President, this is just a preview of the interpellation when the committee report or the bill is discussed in plenary. So, anyway, so siguro ang burden ngayon is nasa Quezon City government to give life to its ordinance.
That is one, Mr. President.
Investigate what happened here. Pero siyempre, ano na lang siguro, kung meron mang, kung pwede, wag na parusahan yung mga nag-prevent din kay Gretchen kasi malabo pa, hindi pa rin ganun kaklaro eh. Ang mga konsepto, ano yung rules, so let this be a learning experience for all of us. And then, Quezon City siguro, government should really focus on this incident and then provide all of the details necessary for the successful implementation and giving life to their ordinance. And I believe they're the first city to have
One of the first two, Mr.
So,
President. Opo.
so congratulations to Quezon City, but at the same time, make sure that your ordinance is properly understood and implemented. Thank you very much, Mr. President, Madam Senator. Thank you.
Thank you very much, good
Majority.
gentleman, Mr. President. Just to put on record that Quezon City Mayor Joy Belmonte already said na may violation of ordinance na nga. May violation ng batas ng Quezon City. Agyaman Act to Senator Amy, dagan salamat to Senator Bongo, o kay Senator Coco. Thank you very much, Mr. President, good majority leader.
Majority Leader.
Mr. President,
Senator,
the Blue Ribbon Committee Chair would like to weigh in the issue.
Just a few questions.
Senator
Mr.
Gordon is
President.
recognized.
Thank you very much. Will the gentle lady yield? And I understand lady is a pejorative word nowadays. They prefer person. Is that correct?
It differs from woman to woman, but woman for us is
So it's
fine.
it's kind of getting difficult to live in our world today because we're making adjustments, right?
Good, Mr. President, if the good and very kind gentleman colleague from Zambales thinks that it's getting more and more difficult to live in the world, speaking as a man, you should try living in this world as a woman. You should try living in this world as an LGBT
Oh,
person. Even more and more difficult, Mr. President.
I wouldn't want to be a woman, especially if Frank Drilon is beside me, Your Honor.
I actually enjoy being his seatmate, Mr. President.
Let me just, levity aside, I asked that question, I don't mean to say it's difficult, because at times you have to be politically correct. You have to be politically correct. And precisely that's what it means when you say civility. Diba? Civility is to cause to develop out of a primitive state. In other words, we've been primitive for the last several years. Diba? We have only now recently discovered that hindi naman nila pinili na maging ganun sila, na they have to live with who they are. The problem is society would not let them live for what they are. Is that correct, Your Honor?
Yes, Mr. President. The good gentleman is echoing one of the philosophies of one of my favorite philosophers, Lady Gaga, that as far as Soji goes, we are born this way.
That's correct. So it was not by choice that you were born that way, but it is your choice to decide whether you are going to be a transgender. Is that correct?
It is your choice, each of us, not just in matters of sex and gender, but also in matters of sex and gender. It's our choice to live our truth. And for some of us, for our LGBTIQ plus sisters and brothers, it's more difficult because, as the good gentleman pointed out, our systems mitigate or militate against them.
Precisely, the force of habit, if you will.
Among
Force
others,
of
Mr.
bad
President.
habit, if you will. Now, when you say it is difficult, and now you use the word difficult, not just me,
Opo.
it's because convention has forced us to take traditional positions that are going to have to make adjustments. For an example, and this is not being facetious, what is the future of toilets in the future, Your Honor?
The future of toilets.
Because right now there's a big debate in America and other places, male toilet, female toilet, and there's a big brouhaha when a transgender who has transformed herself into a woman goes into a ladies' toilet, and a lot of mothers are fretting when their children are in the same toilet. So now you have to have added infrastructure, so to speak. Either you have 3 toilets, or you have 4 toilets, or you have 1 toilet, which means you can, as you can see in the, I researched that you can have a toilet, 1 toilet that says gender neutral,
Yes, Mr. President.
right?
Yes.
Can you show it, please?
Thank you.
Wala ba? Can you unfurl the banner, please? The screen. Well, anyway, while we're waiting for it, sige. while we're waiting for it, Your Honor, it would be a problem because there will be concerns by parents over their kids. For example, as already pointed out, I believe, by Senator Lacson, or is it Senator Pimentel, so somebody could be masquerading as a woman, when in truth and in fact he's a man, and he could be somebody who is a serial killer or a serial rapist. That would be a possibility, wouldn't it, that we have to face up to?
It's a possibility even now, Mr. President.
Correct.
Without the law to protect LGBT persons against discrimination or to enshrine in law their equality.
Which means it would be a qualified crime if somebody does that. That will mean talagang deprave yung character and conduct and attitude so that they would take advantage of a toilet designed to protect or to at least respect yung kasarian ng isang tao. Would that be correct?
I think, Mr. President, if we were in fact to provide on a wide scale those gender-neutral bathrooms, on the one hand, it would help achieve, it would be one way of achieving our goals of a SOGI equal society, of a society that was freer from discrimination. The matter of public safety, of crime prevention, would remain a concern, but it will not be disabled by SOGI equality bill. It will remain a concern that we should apply ourselves to as a modern society. Mr.
Definitely
President.
not, but I guess it's what you might call fine-tuning. You're fine-tuning society to the new reality. That we are now beginning to accept the fact that there are people born and they're, as they say, I remember Christian Jorgensen, when I was still in grade school, she was a woman trapped in a man's body. And so she was, I think, the first transgender.
Trans man, Mr.
And
President.
she even said, I can be a wife, but not a mother, if you recall.
Oh, very interesting, Mr. President.
No, but that's a statement that was very popular in our school at the time because everybody has not accepted the fact that there was a situation where other people would have to respect. At that time, LGBT, so for that matter, the gay types were bullied in school.
Yes,
And
Mr. President.
and that's why I said it was quite difficult for somebody born as such to adjust to the life that he seeks, no?
And that is why, Mr. President, those of us who have observed and accompanied the struggles of these our LGBTQ kababayan, we know, like the mothers that the good gentleman from Zambales mentioned earlier, mothers would be concerned equally for the safety of their children in bathrooms, equally that all of us mothers, that our LGBTIQA plus children should have access to these bathrooms, especially gender-neutral bathrooms, where there would be no discrimination against them, where they would be equal to others in the use of these facilities, Mr.
Your Honor, I
President.
call the attention of our colleagues in some of the toilets that are coming out of the world. For example, gender-neutral toilet.
Yes, Mr.
All right, and then there's another one, whatever. Can you recycle it, please? Gender-neutral toilet, or they were presenting it earlier. Can the audiovisual guys take a look?
That's
Yeah, there you
beautiful,
go,
Mr.
there you go.
President.
Restroom with different types of, the symbol of man, woman, and the other, yeah. Mix Subiri is asking me if I could be majority floor leader, so I would have to transform myself into a majority floor leader right now. And my last question, for the sake of our friendship and is simply this. I just found out that you have added a Q. And Q used to be a pejorative word, queer.
Yes.
When you're called queer, that usually is the start of a fight, right?
Yes, Mr. President. It's the community itself that added this letter and the identity attached to it, queer, in their self-identification as part of the LGBTQ community. So when it is a member of the community, herself or himself, who they call themselves that, they use that to identify themselves, then they have claimed that term.
How would we translate now LGBTQ in Tagalog or in Visaya?
We don't even try it, Mr. President.
See,
Oo, siguro po.
Judgments have to be made in our
Opo.
language, in our culture.
I
Di ba?
agree, Mr. President. Siguro that will evolve naturally, organically, as we institutionalize gender equality, as we institutionalize anti-discrimination, and as we internalize it as Filipinos and as different peoples of the Philippines na may kanya-kanya tayong mga
I
lingwahe.
was trying to think,
Mr.
what would be
President.
the crime committed by that policeman who arrested that person inside the bathroom, put the cuffs on him, when
Well-
the Constitution assures us that all men are created equal,
Yes,
and they have the right to life, liberty, and property.
Yes, Mr.
That's
President.
Article 1 of the Bill of Rights, not Article 3, Section 1 of the Bill of Rights.
I believe QC Mayor Belmonte has set the tone, Mr. President, by announcing that indeed there was a violation of the Quezon City Ordinance. So they will look for the appropriate provisions
I was
within
wondering,
that city law.
Your Honor, if I could ask the policemen, former policemen in the chamber, what would they call now a police person who has joined the police force? Would there be discrimination for LGBT or queer? Would there be just discrimination now?
In fact, I'm proud,
Have we
Mr.
accepted
President,
that?
the armed forces and the national police, even before the passage of this law, they already implement equal opportunity employment for members of the LGBTIQ plus community who feel a calling to the profession of arms.
I think General Bato wants to speak up and tell us how he engineered this coup. How would you now call them, Your Honor? As cops.
Mr. President, siguro,
Senator De La Rosa.
pagdating doon sa insidente na yon, you are referring to what crime did that policeman commit?
Well, you're answering the first question. Go ahead.
Yung first question, sir.
Yes.
I would rather say that kung nabugbog yung kanyang kamay dahil sa pag-handcuff, baka slight physical injuries.
All right.
Pero pag sabihin mo na illegal arrest, I can't, as a policeman, I can't think of a crime na ganun. Siguro, kung nabugbog yung kamay sa pusas.
Now,
Salamat kaayo for the legal advice.
let me go to my last
Hindi
question.
Mr. President.
Police
Or
advice yun.
opinion, yes.
Police advice.
And now let me address this
presume
now
it's legal.
to both our friends in Congress here in the Senate. How would you now call a police LGBTQ?
Sir or ma'am, and his or her rank. Yes,
What?
Mr. President.
How do you call him?
Police General pa rin.
No, let's say somebody joins the police, is queer, police queer?
No, Mr. President.
Police
Napapasa
ban?
lang po natin nung batas
Ha?
champion by Senator Lacson, yung police ranks, no? Police, kunyari, police general, down to police lieutenant. So, similar military
I'm talking
and police
about an
ranks, but
enlisted
police.
person who goes in.
Yes.
How do I call it?
Police person or police officer.
Still, policeman, policewoman,
Apo.
police gay,
Police officer.
police queer,
Or police person,
generality,
as
police.
Senator Binay
You know,
is
in
saying.
identifying somebody, you'd have to define a gender.
Yes,
Lalaki
police
siya,
officer.
babae siya. O gay siya na police, o kaya Q siya na police, di ba?
Police
so
officer, Mr.
these are just some of the hedgerows that we have to undertake, have to grow into.
Yes, Mr. President. I'd just like to add in response to the very helpful questions of the good gentleman from Zambales that indeed queer is a redeemed word by the community.
Correct.
Used to be used against them, but they have claimed it. In the same way that African Americans, among themselves, they joke teasing each other with the N-word. Pero
Yeah.
wag ka, pag puti ang nagtawag sa kanila, then it is a racist slur. But for them, they use it in a very different, liberating way now.
Finally, if we really-
Yes, Mr. President. And then
I would
start...
I would just like to emphasize that I am for equality.
Thank
I
you, Mr.
respect the individual for what he is, and definitely will strive to make sure that everybody treats him equally, or her equally, or them equally. Di ba?
Thank you
it's
so
really,
much, Mr. President.
Language is beginning to be a little bit more creative. Di ba? Finally, I guess that's all I wanted to say. Equality is the name of the game.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. We are seriously playing the same game. Other examples po, aside from police officer that are gender neutral in terms of professions, flight attendants, seafarers, fisher folk. About bathrooms, for example, Starbucks. Meron din kasing mga customer nila who want privacy, and indeed, comfort rooms should give comfort. So these are enclosed comfort rooms that are gender neutral. And lastly, Mr. President, referring to an earlier conversation that the good gentleman from Zambales and I were having from one of my favorite authors, Arundhati Roy, the author of that beautiful God of Small Things. She wrote, "If you think political correctness is difficult, try oppression." And I know we here in the Senate, we are on the side against oppression and for human liberation.
It's a very good quote. Thank you very much.
Thank you
Mr.
so much,
President.
Mr. President. Salamat po.
Mr.
Majority
President?
Leader.
Yes, Mr. President, we refer the speech of the gentle lady senator together with the remarks of General Bato, of Senator Bato, Senator Dick Gordon,
Pimentel.
Senator Pimentel, and Senator
Lacson.
Lacson, and Senator Bongo. Bonga siya. Bonga. And Senator Lapid on the side, which we will discuss further in the lounge.
The lounge, yes.
Mr. President.
I think
to
he
the-
wants to suggest that the toilet in the lounge be gender friendly already, so we can use the toilet of the women.
But you know, Mr. President, when I had a chance to visit Europe recently with my family, Baltic cruise, the Baltic states, Norway, Finland, and other, what you call, Scandinavian countries, wala na pong gender yung banyo nila. You enter, nagugulat nga ako kasi I didn't know where to pass, and I saw
Basta
women come in
toilet lang.
and men come in. It was one hallway with just several cubicles. And then, yun na, babae, lalaki, halo-halo na, sir. So, I guess that's the trend now worldwide. And I also support, and the lady senator knows this, I've supported this measure last Congress, and I will support it again this Congress.
Thank you so much, Majority Leader.
I believe in equality, and I believe also in non-discrimination, Mr. President. So with that, and I believe, Mr. President, di ba kayo kumanta ng Bongga Kaday? BST ba yun?
No.
Hot dogs?
Yes.
Hot dogs, wrong band. Mr. President, I move that we refer the speech of the lady senator and all the remarks to the Committee on Women, Children, Family Relations, and Gender Equality. I so move.
All
I so
right,
move.
any objection? Hearing none. So referred.
Mr. President, we have guests from Porac, Pampanga here with us. One happens to be the brother of Senator Lapid, Councilor Humberto Lapid, and Councilor Edwin Abuque, and Councilor Mike Tapang is with us here.
Welcome to the Senate.
Mr. President, before we proceed to reference of business, just a quick housekeeping measure. With the permission of the body, I move that Senate Bill number 347 and Senate Bill number 574 be secondarily referred to the Committee on Energy. These bills were primarily referred to the Committee on Public Services, one bill, and the other on Ways and Means, Mr. President. So move.
Any objection? Hearing none. So moved.
Mr. President, I move that we proceed with reference of business.
Secretary will proceed with reference to business.
Reference of business, bills on first reading. Senate number 751, titled An Act Creating Medical Scholarship and Return Service Program for the Recruitment of Qualified Filipinos who will serve as primary care workers in priority barangays, municipalities, and cities, appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Poe.
Referred to the Committees on Health, Higher Education, and Finance.
Senate number 752, an act banning the catching, sale, purchase, possession, transportation, importation, and exportation of all sharks and rays or any part thereof in the country, introduced by Senator Gatchalian.
To the Committees on Agriculture, Environment.
Senate number 753, an act reimposing the death penalty and increasing penalties for crimes involving dangerous drugs, amending for the purpose certain provisions of Republic Act number 9165 as amended, otherwise known as the Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs Act of 2002, introduced by Senator Gatchalian.
To the Committees on Justice and Constitutional Amendments.
Senate number 754, an act institutionalizing the rights of government service Insurance System GSIS members, providing them additional representation in the GSIS board, ensuring prompt payment of all their benefits, and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Recto.
Refer to the Committees on Government Corporations and Civil Service.
Senate Number 755, an act strengthening the Military Uniformed Personnel Pension System, creating the Military and Uniformed Personnel Insurance Fund, amending Sections 3 and 24 of Republic Act Number 8291, and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Recto.
Refer to the Committees on Government Corporations, National Defense, Ways and Means, and Finance.
Senate Number 756, an act granting broader protection to consumers, amending for the purpose Republic Act Number 7394, otherwise known as the Consumer Act of the Philippines, introduced by Senator Recto.
To the Committee on Trade.
Senate Number 757, an act rescinding the restrictions on ownership and transferability of lands awarded under the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program, introduced by Senator Recto.
To the Committee on Agrarian Reform.
Senate Number 758, an act providing the direct remittance to the host local government units of its 40% share derived from the national wealth, amending for the purpose Section 293 of Republic Act Number 7160, otherwise known as the Local Government Code of 1991, introduced by Senator Recto.
To the Committees on Local Government and Finance.
Senate Number 759, an act establishing carpool service in the country, regulating its use and operation, and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Recto.
To the Committee on Public Services.
Senate Number 760, an act establishing the National Mariculture Program, providing funds therefor, and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Recto.
To the Committees on Agriculture and Finance.
Senate Number 761, an act providing for the establishment of Timbangan ng Bayan centers in public and private markets nationwide, amending for the purpose Republic Act Number 7394, otherwise known as the Consumer Act of the Philippines, and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Recto.
To the Committees on Trade and Local Government.
Senate Number 762, an act increasing the age for determining statutory rape to provide stronger protection for children, and amending for this purpose Act Number 3815 as amended, also known as the Revised Penal Code, introduced by Senator Binay.
To the Committees on Justice and Women and Children.
Senate Number 763, an act ensuring the fundamental equality of men and women on laws relating to crimes against chastity, amending for this purpose Article 333 and repealing Article 333 of Act 3815, otherwise known as the Revised Penal Code, and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Binay.
To the Committees on Women and Justice.
Senate Number 764, an act authorizing wiretapping in cases involving violations of Republic Act Number 9165, otherwise known as the Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs Act of 2002, amending for the purpose Section 3 of Republic Act Number 4200, entitled An Act to Prohibit and Penalize Wiretapping and Other Related Violations of the Privacy of Communication, and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Angara.
To the Committee on Public Order.
Senate Number 765, an act creating a national anti-illegal drug campaign and research program, appropriating funds therefor, introduced by Senator Angara.
To the Committees on Public Order, Local Government, and Finance.
Senate Number 766, an act exempting the Bureau of Internal Revenue from the coverage of Republic Act Number 6758, otherwise known as the Salary Standardization Law, as amended, and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Angara.
To the Committees on Civil Service and Finance.
Senate Number 767, an act exempting the Bureau of Customs from the coverage of Republic Act Number 6758, otherwise known as the Salary Standardization Law, as amended, and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Angara.
To the Committees on Civil Service and Finance.
Senate Number 768, an act amending Sections 5 and 8 of Republic Act Number 9505, otherwise known as the Personal Equity and Retirement Account, PERA Law, and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Angara.
To the Committee on Banks and Ways and Means.
Senate Number 769, an act establishing Sustainable Development Goals, SDG, and Ambisyon Natin 2040 Fund, introduced by Senator Angara.
To the Committees on Economic Affairs and Finance.
Senate Number 770, an act expanding special financial assistance and benefits granted to beneficiaries of uniformed personnel of the Philippine National Police, PNP, Armed Forces of the Philippines, AFP, Bureau of Fire Protection, BFP, Bureau of Jail Management, Penology, BJMP, Philippine Coast Guard, PCG, National Bureau of Investigation, NBI, and Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency, PDEA, killed or permanently incapacitated while in the performance of his duty or by reason of his office or position, appropriating funds therefor, repealing for the purpose Republic Act Number 6963, and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Angara.
The Committees on Civil Service and Finance.
Senate Number 771, an act increasing the hazard pay of all personnel of the Armed Forces of the Philippines to 25% of their base pay and providing funds therefor, introduced by Senator Angara.
To the Committees on National Defense and Finance.
Senate Number 772, an act providing for benefits to military dependents, creating the Military Dependents Welfare Office, appropriating funds therefor and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Angara.
To the Committees on Defense and Finance.
Senate Number 773, an act strengthening sustainable agriculture and enhancing support for small organic farmers, amending for the purpose certain sections of Republic Act Number 10068 or the Organic Agriculture Act of 2010, introduced by Senator Poe.
To the Committee on Agriculture.
Senate Number 774, an act raising the age of consent and amending for this purpose Article 266 of Act Number 3815 as amended, otherwise known as the Revised Penal Code, introduced by Senator Marcos.
To the Committees on Justice, Women.
Senate Number 775, an act providing for a Magna Carta for dignified commuting, creating the National Office of Commuter Affairs, appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Pangilinan.
To the Committee on Public Services and Finance.
Senate Number 776, an act providing for a Rural Employment Assistance Program and appropriating funds therefore, introduced by Senator Pangilinan.
To the Committees on Social Justice, Labor and Finance.
Senate Number 777, an act penalizing premature campaigning, amending Section 15 of Republic Act Number 8436 as amended by Republic Act Number 9369, introduced by Senator De Lima.
To the Committee on Electoral Reforms.
Senate Number 778, an act strengthening the Commission on Elections, amending for the purpose pertinent provisions of Batas Pambansa Bilang 881, otherwise known as the Omnibus Election Code as amended, providing funds therefore and for other purposes, introduced by Senator De Lima.
To the Committees on Electoral Reforms and Finance.
Senate Number 779, an act protecting consumers and users against forced e-billing, adding for this purpose a new provision and amending certain provisions of Republic Act Number 7394, otherwise known as the Consumer Act of the Philippines, and providing penalties for violations thereof, introduced by Senator De Lima.
To the Committee on Trade.
Senate Number 780, an act amending Article 14 of the Revised Penal Code to add as an aggravating circumstance the crime having been committed against lawyers and justice sector officials, introduced by Senator De Lima.
To the Committee on Justice.
Senate Number 781, an act to harmonize legal education in our country, introduced by Senator De Lima.
To the Committees on Higher Education, Justice and Finance.
Senate Number 782, an act to protect the independence of our justice institutions, introduced by Senator De Lima.
To the Committees on Justice, Ways and Means and Finance.
Senate Number 783, an act providing for a Rural Employment Assistance Program and appropriating funds therefore, introduced by Senator De Lima.
To the Committees on Social Justice, Labor and Finance.
Senate Number 784, an act creating one additional branch of the Regional Trial Court in the 7th Judicial Region to be stationed at the Municipality of Larena, Province of Siquijor, further amending for the purpose Batas Pambansa Bilang 129, otherwise known as the Judiciary Reorganization Act of 1980, as amended and appropriating funds therefore, introduced by Senator Ontiveros.
To the Committees on Justice and Finance.
Senate Number 785, an act addressing the system of prostitution, imposing penalties on its perpetrators, providing protective measures and support services for its victims, and decriminalizing vagrancy, repealing for the purpose Articles 202 and 341 of the Revised Penal Code and amending RA 9208, and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Ontiveros.
To the Committees on Justice and Finance.
Senate Number 786, an act regulating the establishment and implementation of agribusiness ventures arrangements in agrarian reform lands, introduced by Senator Ontiveros.
To the Committee on Agrarian Reform.
Senate Number 787, an act granting the overseas Filipino workers the right to equal protection on money claims, amending for the purpose the 5th paragraph of Section 10 of Republic Act Number 8042 as amended by Republic Act Number 10022, introduced by Senator Ontiveros.
To the Committees on Labor and Foreign Relations.
Senate Number 788, an act establishing a national evaluation policy, introduced by Senator Ontiveros.
To the Committees on Economic Affairs and Finance.
Senate Number 789, an act declaring January 18 of every year a special non-working holiday for all kasambahay in the entire country. The act shall be called as National Kasambahay Day or Araw ng Kasambahay, introduced by Senator Ontiveros.
To the Committee on Labor.
Senate Number 790, an act mandating the completion of the land acquisition and distribution component of the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program pursuant to Republic Act Number 6657, otherwise known as the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Law as amended, introduced by Senator Ontiveros.
To the Committee on Agrarian Reform.
Senate Number 791, an act instituting a Philippine National Autism Care Plan for the support of persons with autism and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Ontiveros.
To the Committees on Health and Finance.
Senate Number 792, an act declaring January 6 of every year a special working holiday to commemorate the death and contributions of Josefa Llanes Escoda, introduced by Senator Ontiveros.
To the Committee on Basic Education, Arts and Culture.
Senate Number 793, an act providing for the allocation and management of the radio frequency spectrum, introduced by Senator Ontiveros.
To the Committees on Public Services and Science and Technology.
Senate Number 794, an act declaring March 2 of every year a special working holiday to commemorate the death and contributions of Tandang Sora, introduced by Senator Ontiveros.
To the Committee on Basic Education.
Senate Number 795, an act strengthening the right of citizens to information held by the government, institutionalizing open data governance and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Ontiveros.
To the Committees on Public Information, Civil Service, and Finance.
Senate Number 796, an act reinstituting the death penalty in the Philippines, introduced by Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committees on Justice and Constitutional Amendments.
Senate Number 797, an act granting additional privileges to persons with disabilities, amending for the purpose Republic Act Number 7277 as amended, otherwise known as the Magna Carta for Persons with Disabilities, and appropriating funds therefore, introduced by Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committees on Social Justice and Finance.
Senate Number 798, an act assisting young athletes by programs and incentives for their development, introduced by Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committees on Sports and Government Corporations.
Senate Number 799, an act rationalizing the economic regulation of water utilities, creating the Water Regulatory Commission, and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committees on Public Services, Civil Service, and Finance.
Senate Number 800, entitled An Act Providing for a Rural Employment Assistance Program and appropriating funds therefore, introduced by Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committees on Social Justice, Labor, and Finance.
Resolutions. PS Resolution Number 77, entitled Resolution Urging the Executive Department to expedite the return to South Korea of the illegally imported plastic waste in Mindanao, introduced by Senator Pimentel III.
To the Committee on Foreign Relations.
PS Resolution Number 78, Resolution congratulating and commending the Philippine National Robotics Team for winning the gold medal and fourth place on the World Robot Olympiad Friendship Invitational 2019 held last August 1 to 4, 2019 in Aarhus, Denmark, introduced by Senator Lapid.
To the Committee on Rules.
PS Resolution Number 79, Resolution directing the proper Senate committees to conduct an inquiry in aid of legislation on the possible national security implications of transforming 3 strategic islands in northern Philippines into economic and tourism zones, introduced by Senator Binay.
To the Committees on National Defense and Government Corporations.
PS Resolution Number 80, Resolution directing the Senate Committee on Public Works to conduct an inquiry in aid of legislation on the status and viability of the approved flood management master plan for Metro Manila and surrounding areas, with the end in view of ensuring a comprehensive and cost-efficient solution to the flooding problem that would immediately bring relief to the public, introduced by Senator Recto.
To the Committee on Public Works.
PS Resolution Number 81, Resolution directing the Senate Committee on Public Services to conduct an inquiry in aid of legislation on the comprehensive traffic program of the government amid the worsening traffic gridlocks where precious resources and man-hours are wasted, with the end in view of determining if such traffic management plan would actually ease congestion in major urban centers and speed up the safe and efficient movement of people and goods, introduced by Senator Recto.
To the Committee on Public Services.
PS Resolution Number 82, Resolution directing the Senate Committee on Health and Demography to conduct an inquiry in aid of legislation on the proliferation of internationally and locally manufactured falsified medicines, with the end in view of addressing the problem and ensuring the safety of the public, introduced by Senator Recto.
To the Committee on Health.
PS Resolution Number 83, Resolution directing the appropriate Senate committees to conduct investigation in aid of legislation on the existence and proliferation of unlicensed and unregistered courier and freight forwarders, with the end in view of protecting the consumers and the safety and security of the goods being delivered through these courier and freight forwarding service providers, introduced by Senator Zubiri.
To the Committee on Trade. There is additional reference of business.
Second additional reference of business. Oh, sorry.
Resolutions.
No, additional reference of business resolutions. PS Resolution Number 84, entitled Resolution directing the appropriate Senate Committee to conduct an inquiry in aid of legislation on the development projects of foreign entities in the islands of Fuga, Grande, and Chiquita, and other locations in the country, with the end in view of strengthening government mechanisms to preserve the Philippine territorial integrity and to mitigate potential risks to national security of public interest arising from economic and business agreements entered into with foreign government and business entities, introduced by Senator Recto.
To the Committees on National Defense and Economic Affairs.
PS Resolution Number 85, Resolution directing the appropriate Senate Committee to conduct an inquiry in aid of legislation on Philippine Offshore Gaming Corporations, POGOs, with the end in view of ensuring that the said operations abide by the country's rules and regulations and security, immigration, labor, and gaming operations, and tax collection, among others, introduced by Senator Recto.
To the Committee on Labor, Justice, and Ways and Means.
PS Resolution Number 86, Resolution congratulating and commending the 2019 Metrobank Foundation 10 Outstanding Filipino Awardees, introduced by Senator Lapid.
To the Committee on Rules.
PS Resolution Number 87, Resolution posthumously honoring Dr. George SKT for his philanthropic contributions, introduced by Senator Drilon.
To the Committee on Rules.
PS Resolution Number 88, Resolution honoring and commending the Metrobank Foundation Outstanding Filipinos of 2019, introduced by Senator Gatchalian.
To the Committee on Rules.
PS Resolution Number 89, resolution directing the appropriate Senate committee to conduct an inquiry in aid of legislation on the uncollected taxes from registered and unregistered foreign workers, including those in the Philippine offshore gaming operators POGO industry, and related issues on the effective implementation of the tax, immigration, and labor laws of the Philippines, with the end in view of enacting amendments to existing legislation that will support effective and efficient revenue generation, resource mobilization, and trade facilitation, introduced by Senator Gatchalian.
The Committees on Labor, Justice, and Ways and Means.
PS Resolution Number 90, resolution honoring and commending recipients of the 2019 Metrobank Foundation Outstanding Filipinos, introduced by Senator Binay.
Committee on Rules.
PS Resolution Number 91, resolution recognizing and congratulating the Philippine delegation to the 15th International Mathematics Contest, introduced by Senator Villanueva.
Committee on Rules. There is a second additional reference of business.
Second additional reference of business, Senate Number 801, an act establishing a credit assistance program for overseas Filipino workers, introduced by Senator Villa Jr.
The Committees on Labor and Finance.
Senate Number 802, an act creating the Philippine Sports Academy as an attached agency of the Philippine Sports Commission, providing its structure, powers, and functions thereof, and other purposes, introduced by Senator Revilla Jr.
The Committee on Sports, Civil Service, and Finance.
Senate Number 803, an act requiring a basic first aid training for personnel of tourism enterprises, tourism-oriented non-government organizations, and people's organizations and individual providers of tourism-related services, introduced by Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committee on Tourism.
Senate Number 804, an act instituting inclusive education, establishing inclusive education learning resource centers for children and youth with special needs in all public school divisions, providing for standards and guidelines and appropriating funds therefore, introduced by Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committees on Basic Education, Women, and Finance.
Senate Number 805, an act creating the Philippine Boxing and Combat Sports Commission and providing funds therefore, introduced by Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committee on Sports, Health, and Finance.
Senate Number 806, an act strengthening workers' right to security of tenure, amending for the purpose Articles 106, 107, 108, and 109 of Book 3 and Articles 294, 295, 296, and 297 of Book 6 of Presidential Decree Number 442, otherwise known as the Labor Code of the Philippines, as amended, introduced by Senator Villanueva.
To the Committee on Labor.
Senate Number 807, an act institutionalizing the Philippine Fiber Industry Development Program, providing funds therefore and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Villar.
To the Committees on Agriculture, Science, Technology, and Finance.
Senate Number 808, an act enhancing administrative feasibility and equitability of the tax system and rationalizing the imposition of the value-added tax to address intergenerational poverty, amending for the purpose various sections of the National Internal Revenue Code as amended and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Marcos.
Committee on Ways and Means.
Senate Number 809, an act to amend Section 12 of Republic Act Number 8436 as amended by Republic Act Number 9369, entitled An Act Authorizing the Commission on Elections to use an automated election system in the May 11, 1998 National Local Electoral Exercises and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Marcos.
To the Committees on Electoral Reforms and Finance.
Senate Number 810, an act increasing the authorized expenses for candidates and political parties, amending for the purpose Section 13 of Republic Act Number 7166, entitled An Act Providing for Synchronized National and Local Elections and for Electoral Reforms, authorizing appropriations therefore and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Marcos.
To the Committees on Electoral Reforms and Ways and Means.
Senate Number 811, an act prohibiting the use of plastic straws and stirrers in restaurants and other establishments and providing penalties for violations thereof, introduced by Senator Ontiveros.
To the Committee on Environment and Trade.
Senate Number 812, an act defining gender-based electronic violence, providing protective measures and prescribing penalties therefore and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Ontiveros.
To the Committee on Women.
Senate Number 813, an act protecting the rights of internally displaced persons and penalizing the acts of arbitrary internal displacement, introduced by Senator Ontiveros.
The Committee on Justice, Social Justice, and Finance.
Senate Number 814, an act declaring August 6th of every year a special working holiday to commemorate the death and contributions of Dr. Fed Del Mundo, introduced by Senator Ontiveros.
To the Committees on Basic Education and Women.
Senate Number 815, an act declaring November 21 of every year a special working holiday to commemorate the death and contributions of Francisca Reyes Aquino, introduced by Senator Ontiveros.
To the Committees on Basic Education and Women.
Senate Number 816, an act declaring September 20 of every year as a special working holiday to commemorate the death and contributions of Gabriela Silang, introduced by Senator Ontiveros.
To the Committees on Basic Education and Women.
Senate Number 817, an act promoting women participation and equitable representation in and by political parties, giving incentives therefore, creating the Women in Political Parties Empowerment Fund, and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Ontiveros.
To the Committees on Women, Electoral Reforms, and Finance.
Senate Number 818, an act providing for the urban countryside greening in the Philippines, introduced by Senator Angara.
To the Committees on Environment, Local Government, and Finance.
Senate Number 819, an act to enhance the use of national wealth for local development by amending certain provisions of Book 2 of Republic Act Number 7160, otherwise known as the Local Government Code of 1991, introduced by Senator Angara.
The Committee on Local Government.
Senate Number 820, an act institutionalizing the poverty reduction through social entrepreneurship program and promoting social enterprises with the poor as primary stakeholders, introduced by Senator Angara.
The Committees on Trade, Social Justice, and Finance.
Senate Number 821, an act promoting the scientific propagation, processing, utilization, and development of Philippine native animals, hereby creating the Philippine Native Animal Development Center, introduced by Senator Angara.
The Committees on Agriculture and Finance.
Senate Number 822, an act strengthening the Philippine Crop Insurance Corporation, amending for the purpose Presidential Decree Number 1467 as amended, otherwise known as the Charter of the Philippine Crop Insurance Corporation, introduced by Senator Angara.
To the Committees on Government Corporations, Agriculture, and Finance.
Senate Number 823, an act providing for a Magna Carta for the Philippine National Police, introduced by Senator Angara.
To the Committees on Public Order and Finance.
Senate Number 824, an act providing for the protection, security, and benefits of whistleblowers, appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Angara.
To the Committees on Justice and Finance.
Senate Number 825, an act to further strengthen the Office of the Solicitor General, amending for the purpose Republic Act Number 9417 and Executive Order Number 292 and appropriating funds therefore, introduced by Senator Angara.
The Committees on Justice, Government, Civil Service, and Finance.
Senate Number 826, an act amending Section 6 of Republic Act Number 1379, otherwise known as the Forfeiture Law, to provide a fixed percentage of the value of forfeited properties in corruption cases as additional funding for the Office of the Ombudsman and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Angara.
To the Committee on Justice.
Senate Number 827, an act amending Republic Act Number 7743, otherwise known as an act providing for the establishment of congressional, city, and municipal libraries and barangay reading center throughout the Philippines and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Angara.
To the Committees on Basic Education, Local Government, and Finance.
Senate Number 828, an act strengthening the Commission on Elections, amending for the purpose pertinent provisions of Batas Pambansa Bilang 881 as amended, otherwise known as the Omnibus Election Code of the Philippines, appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Pangilinan.
To the Committees on Electoral Reforms and Finance.
Senate Number 829, an act exempting the sale or importation of petroleum products and sale of electricity from the value-added tax, amending for this purpose Sections 108 and 109 of the National Internal Revenue Code of 1997 as amended, introduced by Senator Recto.
To the Committee on Ways and Means.
Senate Number 830, an act creating the Philippine Medical Academy, establishing the Philippine Medical Scholarship Program, and appropriating funds therefore, introduced by Senator Recto.
To the Committees on Health, Higher Education, Ways and Means, and Finance.
Senate Number 831, an act advancing the rights of street children by strengthening the Barangay Council for the protection of children and establishing an incentive system for the private sector engaged in the promotion of the welfare of street children and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Recto.
To the Committees on Women, Social Justice, and Ways and Means.
Senate Number 832, an act instituting reforms to further protect and develop the nursing profession, amending for the purpose Republic Act Number 9173, otherwise known as the Philippine Nursing Act of 2002, introduced by Senator Recto.
To the Committees on Civil Service, Government, Health, and Finance.
Senate Number 833, an act establishing the Department of Culture, appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Angara.
To the Committees on Basic Education, Civil Service, and Finance.
Senate Number 834, an act establishing a standard of care and treatment centers for persons with bleeding disorders and appropriating funds therefore, introduced by Senator Binay.
To the Committees on Health and Finance.
Senate Number 835, an act strengthening the National Agriculture and Fisheries Extension System to accelerate agriculture and fisheries development, appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Binay.
To the Committees on Agriculture and Finance.
Senate Number 836, an act modernizing healthcare and health infrastructure, providing funds for the annual value-added tax collections, amending for the purpose the National Internal Revenue Code of 1997 as amended, introduced by Senator Recto.
The Committee on Ways and Means and Health.
Senate Number 837, an act increasing the penalty for fraud committed in relation to the mandatory employee contributions and benefits, introduced by Senator Lapid.
To the Committee on Justice.
Senate Number 838, an act to enhance public financial management in local government units by amending certain provisions in Republic Act Number 7160, otherwise known as the Local Government Code of 1991, introduced by Senator Angara.
To the Committees on Local Government and Finance.
Senate Number 839, an act to enhance the taxing powers of local government units by amending certain provisions in Book 2 of Republic Act Number 7160, otherwise known as Local Government Code of 1991, introduced by Senator Angara.
To the Committees on Local Government and Ways and Means.
Senate Number 840, an act providing for business-friendly tax remedies in local government units by amending certain provisions in Book 2 of Republic Act Number 7160, otherwise known as the Local Government Code of 1991, introduced by Senator Angara.
To the Committees on Law, Government, and Basic Needs.
Senate Number 841, an act to rationalize credit financing for local government units by amending certain provisions in Book 2 of Republic Act Number 7160, otherwise known as the Local Government Code of 1991, introduced by Senator Angara.
To the Committees on Law, Government, and Banks.
Senate Number 842, an act to reduce the cost of doing business in local government units by amending certain provisions in Book 2 of Public Act Number 7160, otherwise known as the Local Government Code of 1991, introduced by Senator Angara.
To the Committees on Law, Government, and Trade.
Senate Number 843, an act to simplify local taxes to enhance tax compliance in local government units by amending certain provisions in Book 2 of Republic Act Number 7160, otherwise known as the Local Government Code of 1991, introduced by Senator Angara.
To the Committees on Law, Government, and Ways and Means.
Senate Number 844, an act to enhance inter-LGU cooperation by amending certain provisions in Book 1 of Republic Act Number 7160, otherwise known as the Local Government Code of 1991, introduced by Senator Angara.
To the Committee on Law, Government.
Senate Number 846, an act to rationalize the functional assignments of local government units by amending certain provisions in Republic Act Number 7160, otherwise known as the Local Government Code of 1991, introduced by Senator Angara.
To the Committee on Law, Government.
Senate Number 847, an act providing a framework for a commuter-centered transportation policy, appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Poe.
To the Committees on Public Services, Public Works, and Finance.
Senate Number 848, an act urging the planning and promotion of the Philippine mango for international export, establishing the Mango Export Promotion Council and providing funds therefore and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Marcos.
To the Committees on Agriculture, Trade, and Finance.
Senate Number 849, an act fulfilling the emancipation of tenants from the bondage of the soil, amending PD Number 27 and RA Number 6657 as amended, among others, and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Marcos.
To the Committee on Agrarian Reform and Finance.
Senate Number 850, entitled An Act Providing for the Creation of the Philippine Road Safety Institute under the UP National Center for Transport Studies, introduced by Senator De Lima.
To the Committees on Public Services, Higher Education, and Finance. Majority Leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Mr. President, the parliamentary situation is that we will have a continuation of the privileged speech of Senator Pacquiao by the Minority Floor Leader. I ask that the Senate Minority Floor Leader be recognized.
Senator Frank Drilon, Minority Leader, is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, there are still a number of issues that I want to raise on the privilege speech. However, we would raise these questions in the committee hearing, and therefore we would have no objection if the period of interpretation is closed and that the privilege speech and the interpolations thereon be referred to the appropriate committee. I think it's a Committee of Justice. Where the various lifting of the suspension of death penalty, or the moratorium of death penalty is pending, and therefore so I have no objection to this issue being referred to the Committee on Justice. So
Senator Tolentino.
Just a manifestation, Mr. President. After listening to the just concluded Blue Ribbon Committee hearing on regarding PhilHealth, wherein the good gentleman from Zambales and the good Minority Floor Leader participated extensively, this representation is of the belief, and this is just a manifestation, that there might probably be some elbow room to expand the broad definition of where death penalty should fit in. After listening to the fraud, the deceit, the lies, the white-collar activities, crimes to that effect in other jurisdictions, this representation is of the belief that an expansion of the death penalty proposals right now should probably include white-collar crimes that lead to massive deception and fraudulent schemes that should have been prevented. And this would include not just the PhilHealth scam which we listened to a while ago, but other schemes, the Ponzi scams and other schemes that are meant to deceive individuals by non-violent means, non-drug related schemes, and would ultimately result in the same consequence, Mr. President. So just a manifestation that this representation would probably be pushing during the committee hearings for an expansion of the coverage of the death penalty proposal, Mr. President. Thank you.
Mr. President,
Yes, Senator
for
Drilon.
this matter, the manifestation can be referred together
Yes.
with the interpellation to the Committee on Justice. But we just want to make a record that we will be opposing the expansion of the coverage of the death penalty, as we're opposed to the reimposition of the death penalty. But having said that, let's take the opportunity when the Justice Committee hears this bill to debate on that point in the committee, Mr. President.
Yes.
So we
So
reiterate
the-
our previous motion.
Yes, there is a call for a previous question. The motion
Yes.
is to refer the privileged speech of Senator Pacquiao and the ensuing interpellations of the minority leader and the manifestation now to the Committee on Justice. Any objection? Hearing none. So moved.
Mr. President, I move that we adjourn the session.
Before that, Mr. President, before that,
Minority leader.
yes, our majority leader, the real majority leader has left and has requested our good friend Senator Gordon to take over the chores. Before Senator Subiri left, bumulong po sa akin, i-adjourn mo na kaagad, Frank, baka masanay si Senator Gordon as a majority leader. I concur with the motion of Senator Gordon.
All right, the motion is to adjourn the session
Until Monday,
3 o'clock in the afternoon
3
of
o'clock, 19.
Monday, August 19, 2019. Any objection? Hearing none. Session is adjourned.